Good morning. Today I want to talk about silence, or you could use another word, reflection, just taking time to be still and with your own thoughts. Now, I'm not talking about meditation and all this mainstream nonsense, honestly. It's the fact that we have been for a long time, but it's accelerating that we're living in times where, number one, there's always two polarities. So number one, oh God, I'm lonely, I'm all alone. And number two, you've got too much time on your hands. You need to be doing things all the time. And the whole sense of balance has gone. Now, I'm not stating anything new. What I'm saying is that it is a very, very powerful habit to spend time, preferably as early in the day as possible, just in silence, whether you're standing outside, which is what I tend to do, or whether you just sit down quietly, but spend the time in silence, no noise around you, just keep still and reflect upon things. It's very, very powerful, and I would say it's absolutely imperative. There are a few verses that I've also read in the Quran. I'm studying translation. I'm currently studying, where God says many times, for those who reflect, take the time, those who reflect will know. Oh, you will know, you who reflect. I'm not saying they're the exact words. So understand, for example, I'm just going to give you an example of we're living in the information age. There's so much noise coming in from every source. And whilst I've got a television, but I've not actually switched it on for months and months and months. I'm probably going to have to reset it if I ever did. I am aware of what's going on because I don't want to be completely dense and dumb and not be aware of what's going on in the world. So I choose very carefully who I listen to, whether that be on YouTube or some other media. I read a lot, so I look at Substack, but there's only a couple I follow at this stage. And I read books. That is enlightening, and I read scripture. But the point I want to make to you is that when you spend time, silent time, every day, when an event occurs, let's take an example like the event that came out in the media yesterday about this young 25-year-old that set himself on fire. You will have a far better probability of viewing that action in a very different way to that if you were a person that's constantly engaged in noise around you. So what I mean by that is not whether it's right or wrong, but you will actually see it. For example, I'll just share how I saw it. The first thing I thought was, what would drive a young man to take his own life, the most precious thing he has? Immediately, you see, we don't actually realize that everything on this earth is predicated, is good and evil, is Satan and God. If you really read scripture, you'll understand, and it's all heading that way. So what is it that came into his mind that did that? And I know without a doubt that it was a satanic force. I mean, the symbolism was unbelievable because he set himself on fire and Satan was created out of fire. And yet there was so much noise there, which was talking about what an amazing man he is, standing up for that region of the world. And by the way, that what's happening in that region of the world is despicable. I talk about it all the time, and I'm very, very, very annoyed, is to say the least, with those people that just stay silent on the matter. But you would see it in a different way. And of course, when you're silent and when you read enough, read widely enough, you'll come to realize that actually everything is pretty much planned. It's all planned. And so what I want to say to you is that, not that I'm right or wrong, but spend the time every day in silence and it will change how you think. And spend as much time away from television. I mean, just don't watch television at all if you can. Even films, they are all a form of propaganda, mind programming. It's all mind programming in one form or another. And try instead to connect to your source connection to the mind behind the entire universe through nature's own principles, which is God. That is what I wanted to share with you today. It's extremely powerful. These small little tidbits I'm sharing are very powerful if you just get into the habit of doing it. Don't think too much about it. Just start doing these things. So silence, doesn't matter how long, whether it's a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just be quiet with yourself. And don't think about what should I think, what should I not think. Ignore all that. Just be quiet. Just be silent. That's it. Enjoy your day.